Hello viewers, in this lecture I will talk to you about void agreement under section 24 and 25, exceptions to the proposition that agreement without consideration is void. I will first read section 24 and then explain. Section 24 says, if any part of a single consideration for one or more objects, or any one or any part of any one of several considerations for a single object, is unlawful, the agreement is void. Full stop. Here, sum and substance of this section is that if the consideration or object is unlawful, the agreement is void. What is unlawful object or consideration? We have seen in section 23 of the Act. But there are slightly often complex situations where object and consideration are so mixed up, or there are more than one object or different considerations, and they are so linked in that they cannot be separated. In that situation, what can happen? Section 24 is an answer to that situation. Meaning thereby, if consideration or object is unlawful, the agreement is void. If there are more than one and they can be separated, yes, you can separate it, and the part which is lawful can be enforced. I'll just give you one simple illustration. There is an agreement with a lawyer that he would be paid fees of rupees 1,000, and in case he succeeds, he will be given the fruits of the litigation. Now let us examine what is the situation. Can you separate this? The answer is no. And therefore, the whole agreement would be void. Therefore, in substance, both consideration and object must be lawful. If there are more than one, then in case any part is unlawful and can be separated, that unlawful part would be void and lawful part can be enforced. This is the sum and substance of section 24. Section 25 again is very crucial. It's a bit lengthy too, but as again simple too. I'll first read the section and then explain. Section 25 runs like this: an agreement made without consideration is void unless 1. it is expressed in writing and registered under the law for the time being in force for the registration of documents and is made on account of natural love and affection between parties standing in a near relation to each other, semicolon, or unless 2. It is a promise to compensate, comma, wholly or in part, comma, a person who has already voluntarily done something for the promisor or something which the promisor was legally compellable to do, semicolon, or unless 3. It is a promise, comma, made in writing and signed by the person to be charged therewith, comma, or by his agent, generally or specially authorized in that behalf, comma, to pay wholly or in part a debt of which the creditor might have enforced payment, but for the law for the limitation of suits, full stop. In any of these cases, such an agreement is a contract. Now there is explanation 1. Nothing in this section shall affect the validity as between the donor and donee, comma, of any gift actually made. And explanation 2. An agreement to which the consent of the promisor is freely given is not void merely because the consideration is inadequate, semicolon, but the inadequacy of the consideration may be taken into account by the court in determining the question whether the consent of the promisor was freely given, full stop. Friends, as I have told you, it's a very lengthy section, but I will make all attempts to simplify it. And you will be surprised that it is simple. The first line very simply says, an agreement without consideration is void. So absolute proposition. There has to be consideration. 3 subsections provide exceptions. And as you know, every rule has an exception. In other words, you can as well say that it is only the exceptions which make the rule perfect. So is the case here. And what is the first exception? The first exception, just in one word, I would say, example of gift. Look at the wording of subsection 1. In writing, registered under the law for time being in force for registration of document. What is made on account of natural love and affection. So, for any document of gift which is written and registered must be on account of natural love and affection between the parties standing in a near relation to each other. It is not to any Tom, Dick and Harry. But in substance, you can remember that it is the gift deed of any property requiring registration, reduced into registration, writing, and registered between the parties who stand in near relation. Such transfers, though there is no consideration, are valid. You can say, in other words, the consideration is natural love and affection and near relation of the parties. The subsection 2 says, promise to compensate. Act voluntarily done. I'll just give you a simple illustration. Someone meets with an accident and there is nobody to help, or someone comes and helps but is hesitating in extending his help because of financial consequences, and you, not being in a position to move, tell him that yes, I will compensate you for past services that you render. Law says, when you have given such promise to compensate the past services, though at the relevant time there is no consideration, the consideration is past service, and therefore promise to compensate such past services is an exception to section 25, which proposes that agreement without consideration is void. The third subsection is, again in short I can say, promise to pay time bar debt. What it is? I hope you know there is law of limitation. And law of limitation prescribes limitation for each and every cause. Meaning thereby, if at all you want to initiate legal action, you have to take it within the prescribed time under the Limitation Act. And if that time expires, howsoever good cause it may be, law says it is lost, it is time barred, you cannot raise any claim on that. This section, by way of an exception, says that if one has promised to make good the debt which is otherwise time barred, that promise, though without consideration, is enforceable because the consideration is the time barred debt. And therefore, in these three situations, though apparently there is no consideration, as I have stated, situations are taken as consideration and they are made enforceable. Explanation 1 to the section says that nothing in this section affects to the validly made gift. And explanation 2 says, it is very important, that inadequacy of consideration is not the subject matter of court. In other words, I would say that courts are not there to repair the bad bargains. It is for the parties to enter into contract out of their own free will and understanding. It is for them to decide the adequacy of the consideration. But only in situation where a circumstance is raised that, say, there is undue influence, and look at the consideration, it is inadequate. In such situation, court may look into the inadequacy of the consideration and may take it into account while determining the question whether the consent of the promisor was freely given, holding that yes, whether it is out of undue influence or otherwise. So essentially, whatever may be the consideration, adequacy is not the subject matter of inquiry by the court. Inadequacy would be examined only when there is an allegation of undue influence. And to support that allegation, to prove that inadequacy may be supporting it, the court may consider it. With this, we stop here for consideration. About void agreements, we'll have another lecture. Thank you.